Okay, I'm just ringing proxy. Hello.
Hi. Hiya.
Hey, you right?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your summoner name? What server?
E West.
Yeah.
Uh, Summit. I'll write it.
Alright. Have you played ranked this patch?
I
You have.
played rank last night, so I got pretty lucky with a couple of games.
Jesus, those are some long games.
I know.
Okay. Unfortunately you haven't got a defeat here. But we can still have a look at one of your victories.
I think like the latest game, I think that was a bit of a mess. Like, or no, the 43-minute one.
I'm hesitant to do that one just because it's
Oh,
so
because it's so
long.
long, isn't it?
You know, I think I find that the best quality games are around about 25 to 35 minutes. So maybe
Okay.
this 35-minute one might be alright. That one's edging like super long as well, 40 minutes down there too. Are you able to like just mute my stream and just have it on? Is that going to be okay, or do you want me to share my screen on Discord?
Oh, yeah, I'll mute the stream then.
Okay, cool. Alright, we'll do it like this then, that's fine. The only things I won't be able to pick up from live, the difference between this and live coaching is like have you got locked cam on, for example, and stuff like that? Do you use
Ooh,
locked cam?
well, I do. I do, but I move my map visibility like very often.
Okay.
Like, and I always look at the map as well. I've got it pretty large. So I do keep an eye out like
You got a pretty
everywhere.
large. Okay.
I got that pretty large map.
Okay, so Caitlyn, Nami into Brand Kaiser.
Mm.
Alright, what are
The
you...
Caitlyn, by the way, is my duo. Just so you
Okay.
know.
Right,
So
yeah,
like
thank
I
you for
shall
letting me
call to
know.
him.
Yeah, so are you guys on voice when you're doing this then?
Yeah, like we're literally sitting back to back.
Do you duo with this person a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want me to talk in terms of duo or solo?
Um,
Because
I
there
guess
is some slight different elements.
um I guess whenever it's relevant, if like you see something that like would be more matched to duo, then sure.
Okay.
But obviously like changes coming in soon. Um, Solo would be more beneficial, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult to... I should be able to get something here still for you, but analyzing as a solo queue game and it's a duo queue game, it does add a little spin to it.
Mm.
But we'll see what we can do. So, okay, let me just pause. So, you know you're up against a Kaiser brand. What are you thinking when you're going into laning here?
Um, so, so like I know that Kaisa has a lower range. So I know that I can poke her, but I can only really do it once like Brand has missed stuff. So I wanted to take it pretty easy and wait for them to make mistakes
Okay.
rather than like just jump in and get burnt.
I mean, that's a fair analysis. I would have probably the first thing I would have mentioned is the fact
Mm.
that you can actually harass this team super early on. Brand doesn't have a stun until at least level 2. And he doesn't have his
Mm.
passive properly active until level 3. Because he needs to do 3 separate instances of spell damage to get that 3-stack blaze explosion on someone.
Yeah, exactly.
So level 1 and even level 2, like you and Caitlyn honestly should be able to be super aggressive here.
Hmm.
Like even if Brand were to hit you with a W, you can just retaliate with your own W on to him, and then you should be able to heal most of that damage back anyway. And then
Oh
Caitlyn should
yeah.
still be able
Yeah.
to apply the pressure. So level 1 here, I'd be like looking to be super aggressive. Like obviously you don't want to get hit by his W or whatever he's taken level 1. But like
Hmm.
it's not... Brand level 1 is actually not that scary at all. And level 2, he's not too scary as long as you just respect his Q.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. I'll keep that in mind. Because I don't usually like think about that straight away. I think of Brand being like a very aggressive laner. So like in my mind, I want to like sustain that basically.
Mm-hmm. A lot of APs when you're playing Nami, like even like Lux, Zyra, they actually do nothing level 1.
Mm.
Like Lux won't have a Q level 1, it's super rare that she does. And even then, once again, if you get snared, it's not necessarily that you're going to be taking a lot of damage anyway.
Mm.
Okay.
I
So.
should be able to heal it back, yeah. Oh, this is really embarrassing.
Yeah, I feel that. When did you level your Q though? Did you take it before you invaded?
No,
okay,
no.
good.
I
Okay,
hold
yeah.
on to it as soon as like even until the point we get into lane.
Like
Like as soon
just
as we see the
here.
laners, then I pick it.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, so you did the right thing in terms of skill order. And I would have taken my Q as well. The only thing I would have said is that you just needed to be more patient.
Yeah.
Also,
I
you
need
can
to
like
wait for somebody else to do something
he
first.
knows you're not there. But the way you bubble is like if he's gonna dodge the skill shot. But he could easily like just walk into this bush and then you'll be able to like your whole team can react super quickly then. Yeah, I mean that sucks that you missed the bubble. Should have been a kill, but
It's okay. It gets messier. I remember this.
Okay, so one thing I'll say is say if you guys all reset here and it went back to normal, Brand would have to either recall here or use his potions. If I was him, I'd probably use some of my potions because if he recalls now, he's gonna lose XP. Because by the time he goes all the way back, some of the many he might have missed an entire wave really. So overall, it's still a win right now, even if he did flash. Okay, I don't like this path thing here though. Why do you guys path upwards rather than back into your lane?
Because we didn't know quite where the Kaisa was. I didn't want her to be in the tri-bush, but I guess
I mean,
even
it'd
with
be
us being
2v1.
Checks for great content Bizzle D.
I was just really following the teammates so that like we wouldn't really get separated.
Well, I mean, you're due with the Caitlyn, right? So
Yeah.
you can easily communicate that anyway. Like you guys should be pathing. If you're not going to invade, which is basically at this point when Nunu's running in the brush, it's really difficult because he's going to have Q and Smite. So he's just going to be able to nuke this red buff down anyway, so it's going to be really impossible for Shyvana. So at this point, it'd be like, okay, invade's failed. But you two just need to walk back into lane.
Yeah.
And then establish lane control, because this Brand is like no HP. You guys could just be, at this point, you guys just walk into the lane, and you guys can probably like control, particularly you can just control this brush here. And just make it so that they have a really tough time farming.
Yeah, because I didn't use my ward at that point, did I? Oh, no, I think it was in Pixel Bush.
You're missing a lot of bubbles. I do like that you're auto-attacking though. There's nothing to be gained here now though, because you won't be able to contest the red buff. No.
It really was very messy.
Yeah, so I think if you just and your duo just communicated with each other to say that the invaders failed, we just need to get back into lane as quickly as possible because of the bot lane situation. There's minions are going to
like
waste.
we were missing that XP.
This should just be, honestly, you guys should be picking up the CS right now and the enemy team should be the ones struggling. But you guys are kind of butchered this pretty hard. Even Caitlyn's like looking to harass over the wall and you guys are looking to re-invade without the Shyvana. Like there's no point in invading because you invade for the buff. This is like a lost cause right now.
I can definitely see that, yeah.
I say that, although he did get a triple kill, but like what elo is this again?
This is Silver 1 on my end, yeah.
Alright. Forget the triple whatever happened. That was a random disaster. But like fail invade, if level 1 invade ever fails, just look to get back into your lane as quickly as possible. And if you're worried about Kaiser just being this bush, there's 2 of you versus 1. It's
like straight up through the tri-bush there, yeah.
Yeah, just get back into lane as quickly as possible. Because now Caitlyn's
Yeah.
gonna miss so much, and this wave
Yeah.
situation here is just terrible for you guys.
It was very like bad positive reinforcement getting
Yeah.
the triple on the Yasuo.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Okay, so you've got W. And once again, like as I mentioned earlier, Brand can't do anything really level 1, so you should be like looking to trade. W. Like he's just used his spell, he's just sitting duck right now, but you're playing super passively still. I'm not sure what you're trying to respect it, there's nothing to respect. Also, if you find yourself in a situation where you're not using your W, you need to use it on yourself. You're sitting here with like 4 mana, and you haven't cast a single W back on yourself to at least regenerate some health.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Still haven't cast your W. Yeah, you didn't use your W for the entirety of level 2.
Up until that point at least, but yeah. So I should have just walked up a bit more.
Okay, so this is an interesting play. I think you got your spell priority a little bit wrong here in terms of being jumped. Okay, so I think if by the time you see Nunu coming out here, even if you bubble the Nunu, this snowball's going to come at you. My thought would be like, okay, so you can't stop the Nunu, but we can look to try and stop the follow-up from these guys. So as soon as the snowball gets a bit closer, I would be looking to potentially bubble the follow-up here. But they're quite far away, so you don't even have to do that. I don't know why your Caitlyn's moving forward into this. I guess they haven't seen the Nunu. So there seems to be a lack of coordination here between you guys on voice comms saying like, look, we're being ganked. Nunu here. She seems to realize that's super late.
Yeah, I do call out stuff. It just depends on, yeah, it depends on my partner actually to pick it up.
Okay.
He's staring at me, sorry.
Alright. So, E self here, I mean, you could have, because the distance between these two, like if they were closer, I would be bubbling. But because you, because they're quite far away, and even if you get hit by the snowball, they don't get to follow up immediately. You should be Eing yourself here while moving, like straight away here. You could even like flash at this point here just to get away. I wouldn't bother holding on to flash. Like if your reaction's so late there, you just flash away and just don't get hit by the skill shot. And then Caitlyn will then be the next one to get engaged on. But honestly, Caitlyn should get punished here anyway. She's way too far overextended in for this gank anyway. I think at this point in time, bubble on the Nunu is a bit redundant.
Yeah, because it's a bit too late.
Okay. What did you buy on the way back out? Okay. I'm not a fan of the ruby crystal, even though I'm probably just assuming you're just spending as much cash that you had in your bags. I would have preferred to have seen a fairy charm here as opposed to the ruby crystal, just because the build order into mirror is quite nice. And you might have yourself mana issues. Do you ever find yourself having mana issues on Nami?
Not usually, because I get biscuits as well.
Okay, that probably just tells me straight away that you're not, like, that from the W's that you weren't using earlier, you're just using her spells enough. Yeah. Okay, the ward there's fine. It's not a huge amount that you can do at this point. I think freezing the lane here as long as possible is fine.
Yeah.
And thank you, by the way, Virtual Jesse. Thank you for the resub. So yeah, just chilling here for a bit is fine. Like, if you can get this next wave, like if we freeze this next wave coming out rather than pushing this one in straight away, it sends a huge wave to their turret, so they won't be able to freeze it themselves. Because if they were to tank like a crap ton of casting minions, it could give them issues. So yeah, nice harassment. If you can auto, or I think you could have got on auto there on the Kaiser, just a little bit of extra damage. Plus, it would be another stealthy
Ooh,
stack.
yeah. I think at that point as well, I was saying I was dancing around on purpose so that Brand would miss his W and then I would go in. But it was, yeah, I should have done more.
I like this as well. This is the right kind of positioning in the lane. So I was talking about this yesterday a lot. You're going to be like diagonal opposite to the poke. And if they got a short range AD carry, you want to be nearer them. So here, I'd say that this Kaiser's quite exposed.
Yeah.
Would be nice if you were when you were to move in, that the Caitlyn would follow up as well and push forward slightly. I think at here, once again, I hope you do it, but here's a good spot. Once again, diagonal opposite to the Brand. You're getting quite near the Kaiser. I want to see like EW auto if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you're looking to do it. I think you don't have to like, Brand's still quite far away. You can still scare her off a little bit here.
It's a very intuitive thing, isn't it? Like the positioning away from like the poker. The Brand.
Yeah. I feel like your Caitlyn could be doing more in terms of harassing the lane here, but I mean, in terms of you're trying to do what you can here. Like that's okay what you just did. You got Nunu coming back down again. Okay, literally same situation again as that. Actually, like deja vu. And it's at this time you got a bit more notice. I would be looking to use someone to heal early here for movement speed. Also Caitlyn, as she's running away, should be like trapping at least a little bit on the way to try and like stop the movement from here. One of you's gonna get caught out by this.
Yeah, I forgot who.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to fight this at all. Pretty sure one of you's about to die. It would be literally be fake, making it so that you're making their life difficult. So I want to see like a good bubble here potentially. Yeah, the problem, like usually bubbling the jungler when he's coming through is fine, but the problem with Nunu is that even if you bubble Nunu, his snowball's still coming in a pathway where, so if you're gonna bubble anyone, it's actually gonna be your bot lane.
I know this sounds really weird as well.
Yeah.
There was during that game like a bit of a visual bug with the snowball itself.
Yeah.
That the snowball wasn't showing. I don't know if like it comes up pretty often.
That's a very common Nunu bug, unfortunately. Yeah.
It was so stressful, like trying to see where it was.
Yeah. So yeah, that's invisible for you. I'm assuming right now.
Yeah. It was like literally only kind of the little wave underneath it.
Yeah. In this situation though, like if the Nunu's closing on a position with you, like unless you have flash, you're not going to be able to get away from the snowball. But if you look at the Kaiser and the Brand, that's like an easy double bubble. They're stacked up super heavy. So you bubble those, you do what you can in that situation. You're still trying to get out. I'm assuming because the bubble's technically being wasted, I'm assuming both of you die here now.
I've forgotten what happened, so I'll have to see. It's a little bit delayed, so.
Okay, I mean, okay. Alright, I'm gonna just watch what you do. Alright, so we've already talked about the bubble. Bubble, not great. Heal early here. I think you need to heal way earlier in terms of giving yourself the movement speed. It's nice they got, and the Caitlyn movement speed. It's nice that you managed to get to use it there at the end. Brand's obviously trolling there, but I think you were trolling as well. Here at this turret, you went back in. Because there's you turn around specifically here to try and harass. No. Your bubbles are cooldown because you've already used that on Uni here. So you've got you've got absolutely nothing left. You've only got auto attacks, but you turn around anyway to look to try and harass them. But your priority here is just make sure you just don't die. Because if you watch, I'm just going to put it in like 0.5 in a second here. Because if you watch the situation, you can tell when Caitlyn's... I mean, Caitlyn's already basically dead at this point, even if you do throw the heal out. And in the end, honestly, some of the heal kind of got wasted. If you had used it earlier, it would have been potentially more viable. But like when you know she's going to die, like it's just a pure waste. You have literally no abilities now ready at this stage. You do have one slow on your auto, so you do auto here, and that's used your E-charge. But now watch your positioning here from this point onwards, that you've got absolutely nothing left and Caitlyn's about to die. You should just be looking to get away from that turret as quickly as possible. Like if they played that better, and honestly, like the fact that you were standing right next to 3 of them and only Brian was the one to switch to you was kind of weird. But you should be looking to prioritize and saving yourself a bit more there, and just the brand on it. I don't know. Let's just talk about the brand's death, but like if you've got absolutely nothing left, there's no reason to start looking for auto attack trades.
Yeah.
Just put yourself under massive risk for no reason. What happened though in the end? Well, it wasn't too bad for you. It ends up being a 1-for-1. Could have been a lot worse, honestly. At this point, you just need to recall though. Like after that play happens, you just need to recall straight away. The wave's already pushed in, so it's not like any minions are going to be coming over to you to freeze. You're just going to be if you don't recall now, you're going to be standing here for like 30 seconds on half HP for no reason. And you're going to have money in your inventory as well. You currently have 878 gold. So that's easily like tier 2 boots and like a controlled or something. You're spending way too long here.
I think what I noticed was the Yasuo coming down.
I mean, Yasuo's like a million miles away.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to be in this lane whatsoever. Because what's going to happen now is that if the 2v2 breaks out normally, Brand's gone back and bought items. Caitlyn's gone back and bought items. Kaiser hasn't recalled yet, but her resources are super high. And you're playing on like this. Whereas you could have just reset, recalled, and you'd be back with your Caitlyn in the lane. Spent all your gold. And you would be able to have just slightly better vision on the map as well.
Can
you look to help? Once again, it's just super deep. I do wonder if this Yasuo is potentially smurfing. He's on 7-0, and what did you say this was? Silver.
Yeah.
So
this is Silver.
Yeah, he's probably smurfing. Okay, so you have two options here, especially since you're duo. You can freeze this lane. You don't have to hammer this lane back out constantly. Or if you're going to push this in, it means that you're looking to either take plates, because you feel like you're strong enough to harass them under the turret, or you're going to be doing an objective on the map. Because there's no benefit to just pushing this in, because you're going to be putting yourself into risk. I don't think you guys are necessarily going to want to harass under the turret either, because of risk value as well. And you need to kind of recall as well at some point.
Yeah, especially with the gold and the mana.
So if you felt like to your partner, I really need to recall, I guess you could push this in right now and then reset and just hope they didn't freeze the lane. But it's then kind of them wasting Caitlyn's time, because she doesn't necessarily need to buy anything right now, because she's just literally just back to base.
Yeah, she's just gotten back.
So the freeze here that you guys are doing is nice. Right, now Brands uses W. I'll be looking to go forward a little bit. You can probably EW. That's fine. You accidentally auto a melee minion, but whatever. You've got ulti here. I think I like this ward here. I'm not sure if you're the one who put this one down, but this ward is really nice in the lane. You got really nice
And then that
vision
one's a
coverage here.
Caitlyn's ward, yeah.
Okay, so Brand's used his Q. So that should be like, okay, straight away, you need to just engage on this. Because he's not going to be able to do anything for ages.
Mm.
And also you've got Shyvana potentially coming down here too. So I think at this point I would just whack ult on diagonally across onto this Brand. He's kind of stuck here. Also you might walk into that Caitlyn trap as well. I'm gonna keep it at 0.5 and see what happens here. So he does walk into the trap. It's a shame you don't use your ulti here though. Yeah, you could have definitely set up and engaged then, for sure. Brand was way too overextended without his Q. And the fact that he walked into the trap, I can understand why you're bubbling this Kaiser to stop the damage follow-up. But you should have identified as well that this Brand is also crowd controlled, and you could have looked to overlap that instantly. And then that would have give...
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that she's over a ward at this point. That would have given her the get-go to just go straight in and ignore this ward.
Mm. Because they were already seeing her at that point.
So yeah, now they see her, so now they're playing super defensively, so you just lost your split second opportunity of having a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that they face check, that's weird. Okay, you just need to look for a reset quite quickly soon. I mean, you could let Caitlyn just freeze this lane if you wanted to, and you could just reset by yourself. She's definitely going to be fine in this lane 1v1.
Yeah, I think at that point as well, I noticed that I was ahead in level to her because I'd been in the lane so much longer than she had.
So for example here, if Caitlyn, your partner, wanted to freeze the lane, I would just W. I would walk out of vision and then recall. Do you know why you'd walk out of vision?
Because they wouldn't know where I am at that point.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't know if you're looking to roam or what. It would be a bit like, is she gone back? Is she not? And it would make it more difficult for the Kaiser to look the farm.
Mm.
But you're hanging around here a lot with no resources, and your gold must be like piling up right now. You're on 1,500 gold in your inventory.
I think, like, I look at my minimap, I look at my screen, I look at things.
You do it. In fact,
and I
okay,
really
so
look
you
at
do
like
it.
my gold.
You do identify it, but it's just a little bit too late. And this Caitlyn shouldn't be pushing in the lane when you've already like starting to recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's still just about last testing. She did hit the wave a little bit too much, but you guys are kind of getting the gist of it, but you just need to execute it better.
Yeah.
That Caitlyn's now by herself
like,
too.
lane management, like, it's difficult for me to understand it properly.
Now we've got staggered recalls. It's kind of nasty.
Mm.
I'd say like Caitlyn can't recall now at this point. With the way he's pushing in, you just need to heal her as quickly as possible and as much as possible. And also you might want to consider, if you guys are going to get pushed in, you might want to consider having a defensive ward. You got your spell feast done now. Your frostfang's done. So you might want to consider like just a ward in the tri-brush or something, just in case you get tower dove.
Yeah.
Especially with Kate's low HP. And every time your W's off cooldown, you should be just using it on the Caitlyn. Like it's off right now, okay. Second delay, but it's fine. Yeah, okay, good. A little late on the air. I have noticed that you've been doing airy to try and help her dodge skill shots and things, but they have been slightly too late. I would be hesitant to put... Okay, are you putting a control in this brush because of the Shyvana coming down?
Yeah. I put it in there so that they wouldn't be able to see her.
Okay. I think it's... obviously I'm thinking in my current ELO you wouldn't get away with that, but I'm thinking like in this ELO it probably will work.
It's just not a habit for me to hold on to. Is that what you said?
Well, it's because the thing is here, it's like, is Shyvana then going to work off this? Okay, she does. Okay. I think using your ult here is fine. It seems a bit overkill, but it's not the end of the world.
Mm.
Now it's just like, if you need to communicate with your partner here. So like, you need to ask, do you want to go back and buy? Or do you want to be more greedy? That would be, because there's no dragon to play for here. So if you push this lane in, the only thing you're going to be able to do is either take plates or go back and buy. If your partner can't buy anything, then you're looking to be either freeze the lane here or push in and be greedy for plates.
Yeah.
So you need to identify what you want to do here from this point on. Also, you want to be spamming W, yeah, that's it. And this is where like the mana issues I was talking about earlier, that this is more of what you should be doing on Nami. This is what you should have been doing around about the level 2. You will be going through your mana a lot more. This is why I'm against the Kindle Gem start.
Yeah. It's having more like Fairy Charm regen that way.
It's a bit of spooky pathing there back into the lane, but okay. Once again, topping up your Caitlyn more often. Give her an E randomly, I'm not sure why. Alright, so here it's like, you need to decide right now. Are we going to take plates or do we need to recall? Let's have a look at the gold. So Caitlyn's currently got 1,700 gold in her inventory. Okay. So at this point, I'd be saying like Caitlyn should probably be recalling. If you are going to greed, then it's just one plate and then back off. Because if you look, if I just pressing X here, you can see how much total gold Caitlyn has acquired in this game. And the amount of money in her pockets right now is literally 50% of the money that she's earned this entire game.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So if you are going to greed for this, just take the plate. You need to help attack the plate here. And then it's straight away recall. You don't even want to necessarily attack this wave coming up, because she's still going to be spending a lot of time clearing out this wave, the Kaiser. Okay, then once again it's just pushing this wave again, and then you want to reset as quickly as possible. I don't want you guys getting caught out because you guys are just unnecessarily greeding.
And we've got Nunu coming down the lane there.
So now we're getting into extremely greedy territory now, because now if we look at the gold, 2,000 gold, over 50%. The amount of gold that she's acquired this game is in her inventory. So she's only spent 1,800 gold on items, but she has 2,000 gold in her inventory, right?
Sorry. He's having a bit of a laugh about that.
Yeah. And now you guys have got caught off because you guys got super greedy. So you need to understand how much gold you guys have in your inventory. And when it's ideal to spend, yeah, you're dead. So you can see how you've given away
all that
900 gold because it's 2 kills and then 2 assists. So 300 for the kill and then 150 gold for the assist times 2. Okay?
Yeah.
All because of what? You went for 2 plates? Which is 320 gold. So you can do the quick math on that. That wasn't worth it. So you guys just need to analyze that a little bit more, especially when you're duo. Like, do you need to, if you got enough money in your bags to get like an item advantage here, and then use that to then take the plates? Because you still had, if you recalled around the 11:30 minute mark, you still would have had time to take plates, and plus you would have had up more items, which would mean more damage to the turret anyway. Okay, because now this is like the worst case scenario, especially when your team is so far ahead. As to add on top of this, if your team is doing really well across the map, which they are, you got a 9-0 Yasuo and a 3-0 Shyvana, you don't have to carry down here at all. You just need to not feed. Does that make sense? You can just let the other people on your team carry. The only way you guys are going to lose is just by dying now at this point. So you want to just eliminate those risk factors completely.
Yeah, because I think like that's what extended the game too much. Is just
they get
like
dragon
those little
for free
factors.
off this, I'm assuming. Nuni should get this, right? No, never mind. Wait, Shyvana's gonna die though? Is she gonna die? Brand's only level 5. What a weird game. Anyway, we'll keep focusing on you. So this lane is quite thick coming down. There's a lot of casting minions here. So this lane is going to push in quite a lot here.
And
So
we've just gone back, so then...
Well, the thing is here right now is just... You just need to kind of evaluate the situation, and because Nunu's been bought so much, and honestly it's the only place where the ganks have been working right now.
Yeah.
I would be thinking like, okay, Nunu's probably going to keep spending his time down here because the ganks, so every time he's ganked bot, he's got kills. He's currently 2-5-3 right now, so literally you guys are yeah, giving him kills, yeah. So I'd be wary about that. Plus there's no plates on the turret anymore, it's 14 minutes into the game, so you guys don't necessarily have to worry about that as much now. Try not to throw out random Qs. Yeah, you bubbles and call that. So you okay, so as soon as you see Nunu coming through down here, do you know what you should do?
Ult.
Who are we ulting?
Well, should have ulted the laners, so Brand and Kai'Sa.
Exactly. So it's the same kind of rule as I was mentioning in the laning phase. You want to try and stop the follow-up damage coming through.
I feel like I've seen this 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 6 times having played through it. Oh god.
Oh, and you ult the Nunu as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, at this point, you still got E. You still okay. So let's look at this back again. So we've established already what you should do, but let's see how you actually play it out with the things that you do. Alright, so your bubble's on cooldown at the moment. The only thing you've got is ulti. You ult at the right time, but at the wrong people. So you still got your E and your W. Caitlyn's been harassing this Brand this entire time. You didn't give her E once. She could have killed this Brand. Once again, you still got your E and W, so you still haven't used that. You E'd yourself. Okay, so if you've ever been crowd controlled by anything, so it could be an enemy tank support, it could be an enemy jungler, you always want to try and E your AD carry. Do you know why?
They can actually do something.
Yeah, they can actually slow and help peel them off. Because at this point here, you've given yourself E to maybe presumably to try and give yourself a little bit of movement speed, but you're gonna be rooted here any second. So that movement speed is like mitigated completely. But your Caitlyn's free, and she can use the E for damage and slow to try and put off the enemy team from following up. So here she could be like hammering down on the Kai'Sa to stop the Kai'Sa from potentially following up on this. You still got W available. Bubbles kind of went into Narnia there. Okay. So you're pressing the buttons, but in the wrong order. And in the wrong direction.
Myself too much.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, exactly. So I think this is a really good skirmish to analyze. So you want to ult the where the damage is going to be coming from, because once Nunu's done his crowd control, he died to him to be fair, but like he's not the highest damage dealer here, but at all is the Kai'Sa and the Brand. So you want to stop the damage from coming up. So if you do get crowd controlled by Nunu, that's like you don't have to then worry about it.
Yeah.
Also, as you're moving, you really need to look at actually using your abilities as well, because you probably could have got another rotation on E and W in this fight, but you only get one rotation. So if you use your spells earlier,
then they'll be back up again
exactly.
later on in the fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially, yep. So you E yourself here instead of Caitlyn, especially when the Caitlyn was already hitting the Brand as well. So yeah. I mean, luckily she did manage to kill the Brand, but maybe like 1 or 2 hit too much over. Did she? I think she ulted. Did she ult the Brand? No, she didn't. It was just, I don't know how she died there at the very end, but her attention could have easily just shifted to the Kai'Sa straight away then.
Red team's turret has been destroyed. Shut down. Shut down.
Okay. Better E usage for the Caitlyn so she can look to harass.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I always say I'd rather see the ult, like to see the ulti used rather than not used. It's nice look for an auto there. It's kind of the mechanically iffy fight, but we'll look past it. I think the Caitlyn took a little bit too much then. I feel like if you ever have an opportunity, so for example, you know, like Nunu's dead for here. He's died elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I think I was looking at around mid lane at that point as well, because then I noticed that Kai'Sa goes mid lane.
So yeah, like there's a lot of random stuff going on mid. Like this Yasuo is definitely smurfing in some capacities. 11-1 in a silver game at 16 minutes. But you know you've been ganked by Nunu a lot lately. The main way you can counter a lot of these jungles is just by having deeper vision, right?
Yeah, deeper wards, yeah.
So you want to try and get this brush over here warded. So that would be mean, because you've already got a ward in this try brush and you know Nunu's dead, so it's unlikely that anything necessarily bad is going to happen. So you would tell your Caitlyn to back off, or maybe even come with you potentially, and then you'd path into this try brush from the river, and then you get a ward into this brush and then back off straight away and then get back into lane, especially when the lane's already been pushed in. So that way if you see Nunu coming through the lane like he has done once or twice, you better see him at this point here, and that'll give you enough time to react. That could just be an easy ult or something.
Yeah. Because he'd be rolling there at that point, yeah.
Or even if he was coming up from up here. So yeah, it just helps. I mean, you should be trying to do that as much as possible anyway, regardless of this current game. Okay. So here, for example, the Caitlyn is looking to go forward and harass. You should be giving your E here to her. So right now, it's extremely likely the Caitlyn is going to engage into this branch. She's actually in auto attack range here. You should be passing your E buff here over to this Caitlyn straight away.
Yeah, because I'm also in E range, yeah.
Oh good. Okay, I thought it was going to hit. If that had hit, she would have ulted in. I think this has actually been quite a good game to look at you guys 2v2 mechanics and your lane fundamentals. There's definitely a lot, to be polite, there's a lot of things you guys need to go back to the drawing board on. Yeah. It's kind of an unusual game though at the same time because of the whole mid lane situation. It's distorting map macro right now. So there's no map macro to do because it's so...
It's like it's taken care of in a way.
Yeah, it's too funky.
Weird, yeah.
I kind of want to just have a look at one of your other games now, since we're running, gonna run out of time at some point. Yeah, we've got about 20 minutes or so. So let me...
There's a Lulu game that I lost like further down the line that I did solo. So I don't know if that like says anything more.
I think that's just... I
Is
mean,
it not
since we've
available?
already
Oh.
done the... it is available. It's okay. I think it's because I've got like only 15 minutes. I think it's gonna like be completely new information for you. And if you do duo a lot of this person, let's just stick with that for now. Are these all duo as well? These Nami games?
Oof. I think most of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the 3 in a row there.
Okay. Let's just have a quick look at this one then. So Vayne Lulu. Kate Nami. So here I'm looking for you to be super aggressive once again level 1 on Nami. Not sure what's going up with the portraits.
Oh, they're like hanging out there.
Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
Okay, so you've used your ward already. If you like using your ward level 1, you can always instantly recall here and just buy an oracles, and then by the time you get into lane, the oracles will be ready. So you
Using
could,
like the bushes for control, yeah.
yeah, so you could use that down here. That's an option too for sure. You don't have to do that, but it's, that's like generally what can happen in, honestly, in like generally super high level play. That is a normal thing to do.
A summoner has disconnected.
You could introduce that into your own gameplay if you wanted to. Okay, so here, I'm gonna speak to like the both of you here. You're up against a AD carry once again that you can harass. It's a Vayne, she's short range. Caitlyn has, you know, she's really good against those short range AD carries. I would say like you also can outpush her as well. It's not like Vayne will be able to outpush you at all. You guys have got complete lane priority down here, excuse me. You guys don't have to start bashing in this wave as quickly as possible. You can look to like move up slightly, and if they were to come out of the brush in the river, or if they were just looking to come into the lane, you could get a few easy like pokes off and then retreat and then try and carry on like keeping a very aggressive stance into the lane. Like the thing is, okay, what should happen here now, I think, with the way you're handling this wave, is that you're going to give them a way where the wave is going to be frozen here potentially, so then they're going to be safe under turret. It's going to be much harder for you to harass and deny XP and CS if they're under turret.
Yeah.
So you want to try and keep them. The idea is that you want to hit level 2 first, but you only want to hit it like marginally quicker because you want to keep them in the middle of the lane. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, because then I also would have bush control to poke out of as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So here, like right now, if you didn't attack this wave as much as well, maybe one of your melee minions die. That can always happen if the enemy bot lane aren't paying attention and they spend too long pulling. And then if they get denied a melee minion, it takes 2 caster minions then on the next wave for them to actually hit level 2, so you can punish that even harder then. So you don't want to like go too crazy on this wave early on. So here, you're running away. And you haven't, you spent too long leveling your W here. Like by the time you're already in lane with Nami, unless like you're up against like a Nautilus or a Blitzcrank or something that's going to engage on you straight away, you can just level your W. You don't need, like, you're not going to be needing your bubble or your E at this point. So like as soon as they expose themselves here, my thing would be like, okay, I'm going to get ready to work with Caitlyn here just to do quick harassment. Caitlyn has Q, so Caitlyn should just Q here straight away, and you can just W. Just do a quick hit and run, back off. When your spells are off cooldown again, hit and run, back off. Hit and run, back off. If you can get an extra auto in, that's great. Like you guys, the difference here is that you guys have a heal, they don't, just from your W. So you can sustain some of this crap that they're going to throw at you.
Yeah.
Because like the Lulu, Lulu
with
did here.
carry positioning as well.
So the Lulu felt brave enough there to do an auto hit to get plus 40 gold because Pix gives her another stack of spell thieves. Whereas you could have got like a double W bounce here. So if you just threw here at this point here, if you threw your W at the Lulu, it would bounce either to like presumably to you, and then it would bounce onto the Vayne. So in total you would have got like more total damage there. Plus you could have probably weaved in an auto attack as well. Okay, because you guys have spent a lot of damage on this wave. Okay, at least there was some like restraint on Caitlyn there at the very end, so the lane doesn't go quite as deep. But it's still not, it's not in a terrible position, but it could have been slightly nicer. The wave could have been back a little bit.
Too much in our favor.
Caitlyn needs to be pushing up here as well, looking to harass, presumably from the bush as well, so she can get more stacks of a passive. You guys don't necessarily need to be wary here. You guys are going to hit level 2 on 1 melee minion. Okay, the enemy teams respected that. You guys need to be posturing more. You need to be looking to self-cast EW auto attack more here. Just make the Vayne scared. Make this Vayne scared to last hit these melee minions here at the front. Buffing the Caitlyn here is okay as well, but the problem is she's trying to CS, so her charges are more likely to be used on the minions as opposed to on the harassing. Yeah. Good auto attack on the extra there on your W. think using E on the Caitlyn there was fine because the cannon minion. I sometimes like giving my ED carry E buff so they can make sure that you can guarantee last hit that cannon minion.
Yeah, I've been paying more attention to doing that with like your coaching sessions that you've been doing so far.
Okay, so here you've got two options.
Mm.
Once again, you could reset if you really felt like it, but I think because you guys are playing like double poke into like this, they need to feel the pressure. So here you should be like looking to get as much damage here on this turret. I don't know why you keep moving backwards and forwards out here. I think just put the pressure on. Make sure you hit this turret 3 times to get those spell thief charges at the very least.
Yeah.
You want to get that 500 gold as quickly as possible. That's like your main objective in this lane, okay?
Mm.
You should be harassing a lot.
Being more late game.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
That's fine. Clearing that's fine. My only concern here is now is that you guys are spending way too much med. Yeah. And now you've just given... You're playing double poke. You guys should be winning this lane. And now, because of that roam, there's nothing to roam for. You just guys have given away your laning pressure. Whereas they're the ones that should be under turret, being struggling, being denied CS and stuff. Okay, so Diana's coming down here. I think the E here in Diana is fine. Alright, so the bubble here is fine too. I would love to see you run Ignite, by the way, rather than heal. Especially against lanes that you're gonna, you know you're gonna beat. You should be beating at least anyway, in this 2v2. Pathing here is all very strange, but you guys should be able to clean up. She's on the flash for that. That was such a late flash. Good. Okay, so you have a huge luxury here. Okay, do you know why?
We've got a massive wave stacked up.
Yeah, so you want to play around this a little bit. I don't think you can instantly recall just because there is a crap ton of minions there. So I'd say like you need to thin this out a little bit, but you still want to make it so that there's more enemy minions than your own minions. So so I would like... Okay, so let's have a look at the whole picture of this lane. If you thin out this wave a little bit, so it's still slowly pushing towards your turret, but it doesn't crash to your turret, that is like the ideal situation.
So to freeze it right around kind of that rock ledge there, yeah.
What I'm assuming is going to happen here, which is very common in unranked to honestly even in diamond, is that you guys will push this entire... You will clear out this entire wave, and then by the time you've done that, the other wave will be coming in. But do you know what then it poses risk of? Like
well, and by the time... Is it our wave or their wave coming in?
So by the time you spent the amount of time that you need to clear out this entire wave.
Oh, well, by then the laners would be back.
Exactly. And they have spent their gold. Even though they died, they now have item advantage and probably resource advantage as well.
Yeah.
So even though you guys got kills on them, they're actually stronger than you. So that's the main thing you're going to have to be very wary of here. So let's see what actually happens. I'm assuming because of the ELO it's in, I'm assuming you guys just clear this out as quick. Yeah. I guess you could, if you freeze it as well, it's even kind of more scary. Because now you're playing into like your double poke into hyper carry. So yeah, so you chose to freeze it. Luckily, Diana kind of helped you out a little bit there in terms of presence. So they might be reluctant to try and keep you off here. But now you're like in this awkward situation where if you push this up, you probably still don't want to fight them 2v2.
Because they've still got their new items. Yeah.
Exactly, so let's have a look and see what they've got. So yeah, so Caitlyn's got double longsword. Lulu's just got boots. So the plus 20 damage there on the Vayne could make the difference. It could. And because you're going to be pushing in as well, you're not going to be able to, because this is a kind of minion wave, it's going to take a while. the other wave could come in time to block it here, and then you could then be exposed to a gank.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what you do in the meantime. Okay, so if Lulu chucks her shield on randomly like this, I think you just need to click on the vein and just pay. If you're not familiar with the Lulu timer, just pay attention to when that shield's about to deplete. Because if you just go in and harass here right now, the shield's just done its job. But because you did the shield super early, kind of for like no reason whatsoever, you can basically essentially just wait for that to come off, drop off, and then like I don't know if you guys would have heard that or not, but she also used a W on the vein.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I don't know why they were escaping like that, but I know like what you were saying with putting E on yourself and moving forward is enough to like put them off coming forward as well sometimes.
Yeah. I like you guys actually reset there. You should at least you managed to get a reset, and fortunately that the enemy bot lane didn't freeze the wave. So you at least managed to find a window of being able to reset.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope the things I mentioned kind of like opened your eyes a little bit in terms of when to freeze, when to potentially look to freeze, and the risks of like, you know, or freezing and not freezing.
Yeah, because definitely like lane management is something I really struggle with.
I mean, this is
and like understanding what to do with the lane as a support as well.
Yeah, so this is like something that I'm emphasizing a lot more on wave management than I usually do at this ELO, because you are duo with someone. So this is something that you can easily communicate with your partner. Whereas if you're solo, a lot of it is just dictated by your AD carry, and then you're reacting off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are like minor things that you can do, like if your AD carry is dead and if you can hot tank the wave a little bit before it hits the turret and things like that.
Yeah.
That can help. But yeah, that's like the potential. And if your AD carry is pushing in a wave as hard as they like, you can see them like, you know, proper mashing it down, then you would want to join in on that by auto attacking the minions and helping there as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope this helps your AD carry out a lot as well. And they're watching as well, right?
Yeah, he is. Thank you. Because, yeah, this really opened my eyes a lot to what's going wrong, especially like in lanes.
I kind of just want to see at least one mid-game team fight, because we spent the entire basically hour on laning phase. Being here, you've got level advantage. Yeah, you want to be more aggressive if possible. Okay, yeah, so that's another case of where like you're crowd controlling the jungler again instead of looking to crowd control the enemy, and also you're holding onto your summoners too much. So here at this point I would chuck E in the pathway of this vein, so it would be, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it would be around about here. Treat it like an Anivia wall so that she can't come through. And then I would just be literally just like heal and flashing, just to give you both movement speed. Because if you flash and heal first, the Caitlyn's not going to be in range of your heal. So you want to heal, flash, and hope the movement speed helps out. Getting the Caitlyn out, you should be safe. Also, it'd be nice if the bubble were to land on the vein, because the problem here is Hecarim, he's going to get in no matter what because of his ulti. Makes him unstoppable.
Yeah.
So you do that. Very, very, like, you could have flashed as well on anticipation for him to ulti that too.
Yeah.
I mean, you use summon a heal here and flash, but you die anyway, so it's just a complete disaster. So at that point there, I think you should just like acknowledge that you're dead and you screwed up. Like here at this point, getting condemned against the wall, you're dead. Even though as I'm saying that, I think you could probably flash over this wall.
I think that's what I was trying to do a little bit.
Okay.
But
yeah,
obviously it didn't work.
In the majority of the cases, you just want to just die and just keep your summoners up, because now you don't have them now at all, and you kind of use them for no reason. But There might have
Season
been
and,
an
like-
opportunity here to just mash flash going over to this wall and still hold onto your heal to see even if you make that flash potentially. But yeah, always try and look to crowd control the lane is the damage follow up coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlyn's a bit greedy here, staying by herself. Okay. I want to get to a mid-game team fight. You guys are in lane still at 17 minutes into the game. Yeah, so once laning phase is over, which is generally, so you guys actually get their turret. So as soon as you guys get this turret, you could probably push in that wave as well. Hey, both of you recall, and then both of you need to head to mid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, laning phase is over at this point. 40 minutes into the game, your turret's down. Now you want to see. So once you've got your tower, you're looking at what is the next easiest objective to take. Okay, and you're going to be saying, you should be asking yourself that like throughout the entire game, especially from like at the start of mid game towards the end of the game. Like, what's the easiest thing to take? So in this case, it's a so generally it's the tier 1 mid tower because it does two things. It allows you to put pressure on the mid lane. Secondly, it allows you to be in position still to do Herald and Dragon.
Yeah, because Herald is up, Dragon isn't up just yet.
Yeah, exactly. So you could assist over towards the Herald. It's just you're putting more power pressure on the mid lane. Against some wave clearing APs, it does become a little bit difficult, so you will have to utilize the Herald in order to get the turret. But you being mid just allows you to ward it allows you to ward basically more of the map rather than being contained on that bottom side as well. So by the time you get to mid, I would say like drop a ward here in the mid lane, and then you want to fan out some wards. So you could put, if you didn't feel like you were safe to go deep, you could put a ward over this ledge here from the brush.
Yeah.
You could put one in this pixel brush here too. Well, what you would have to choose one on this side, and then it would be like one ward over on this side, and then you would have a control ward, and you would better choose where you wanted that. Like if you felt like the enemy was stronger on one side of the map or not, you could choose either side of the mid lane brushes to choose from here. So if you felt like the bot lane was potentially going to come up and then react, you could then put a control ward here to get a little bit more like vision confirmed around here. But that's like the ideal play, because you don't want to get caught out both of you don't want to be bot side. Both of you do actually move out. Okay, so yeah, in this situation here, on this play, you always ideally want to start with your ulti. Especially when there's multiple people here. You just whack down ult instantly.
Yeah. Because I would have been in range then anyways.
I think she's dead regardless anyway, but like... Wow, she survived for a really long time actually. But always just start with your ulti. And then try and then use the ult when they're knocked up to land your bubble. It just makes your bubble land so much easier. So just watch that. So yeah. So it would have been ult here. Maybe when they were stacked you could have got a double bubble.
I think as well, like what I do sometimes, I don't know if you know, like that you can do on the little profile pictures over the top of the map, that you can try to cast like a W on there. So I was trying to get to Diana to heal her first.
I think if you're fiddling around
there, like,
that much, just press it on someone anyway, because the healing. So I'm just mousing over on your W right now. It's only 10% less healing on the Diana at that point. Plus, you're actually then hitting 2 targets as opposed to 1. You don't need healing in that situation. So it'd be like you hit Malphite, then it hits Diana, then it hits the Hecarim, right? As opposed to if you hit Diana first, okay, she gets the plus like 10% heal, but then it hits like the Hecarim, and then it's going to try and bounce back to you, but you didn't need the healing, so it would be redundant.
Yeah.
So don't like worry about it too much.
Either way, like it would have been ult first anyways.
It's literally just all about urgency, right? Okay. I think being up here with your team is fine. I'm talking about easiest objectives to take. The tier 1 is really nice. You guys can get Herald, that's good too. I like how there's 3 wards in that tri-brush.
I love that.
Good job killing the Scryer. I think at this point you want to look for reset to get more wards back in. You have no ward charges. Just a little bit more urgency on the recall. Okay, so I see how you guys end up bot lane. So Caitlyn was the one to pick up Herald. Okay, if you guys are going to take this wave here, then you need to stop pushing up. If that is what's going to happen here. You want to head back into mid, get the mid lane priority sorted.
Because like you said earlier, that was still the next best objective, to take the mid tower.
Yep. Okay, I don't like how... Okay. I like that you're trying to get a vision for your team, but the board that you're about to play is pointless for this current situation right now. Okay, so you're looking toward the blue, but your fight's like over here. But it doesn't matter if you get intel on Syndra at this point around here. That's not going to help your team, because your team is extremely unlikely to be fighting here and then it be carried over to this blue buff area. So at this point, as soon as you drop that ward into that brush, you should be like coming back and with your team here. You need to be like more with your team.
Yeah.
You're quite late here. Luckily they didn't engage or anything like that. This is nice. Okay, what did you start off with here? I want to see what you press first. You press E first. Good. I'm not a fan of the W straight away though. I would have looked at crowd control. I think using your ulti... It's a tough call, whether it be like E into ult or E into Q. I would be hesitant to ulti just because you had like potentially the whole team following up from behind from that play. So I'd be like EQ. There's no reason to use W there because, okay, right, it gives you a little bit of damage. Maybe it movement speeds someone slightly, but just get the bubble in as soon as possible, because as soon as you E someone, whoever you E'd is going to attack, and that's going to reveal straight away that you guys are in that brush, and then the surprise is over.
Yeah, and with the E they're slowed as well, so that's ideal for the bubble.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just watch out this fight a little bit more. Okay. I like how you're with your team still. Everyone's grouped up relatively close. One thing I would say, like, I know you were in the mid lane earlier, but trying to have a ward in this mid lane area is super helpful all the time. At this point in the game, it's your absolute priority to have a mid lane ward. It's a bit too late to be able to do it now, but you were in the mid lane earlier. That's one thing I failed to mention.
And that would be on the opposite side of where we've got the wards in the bush.
That would be generally, you want it diagonally opposite to where the tier 1 turret is. Just because it's further away, so it's got less risk of you accidentally putting it in range for the turret to see it.
Yeah.
So always put it like, so diagonally opposite, and then the same with this turret as well, diagonally opposite. Your recall came through a little late. Wasn't quite in sync with your team. I like the trap potential here. Ooh, okay. Try and refrain from ever just throwing out your Q, okay? As tempting as it may be, it's just not worth it. At least you have to start up with your E to slow them. But here you should have probably identified anyway that the Caitlyn is way too far away to be able to follow up on a bubble this distance away. She's barely on my screen right now.
And I should have been more patient anyways.
I think the ult here is good, force the flash. The nothing really too much else to add to that. Do you have oracles available to you? You do. Like, I would have been concerned like they would have had vision coming through here.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have necessarily have cleared for it, but okay, that's fine. I would be more concerned about like, TP Rory or something. The enemy team has 2 teleports, and the worst case it would like to know where the TP is going to be coming from if they were to react. Okay, like the Caitlyn is looking to push in the turret, and she's super deep. I don't think you can veer off too much from this situation.
Mm-hmm.
If your AD carry is doing quite a risky push in, then you need to be closing the gap and warding for them. You have lots of ward charges still, so yeah, I would say put the ward in deeper. So like I would ward, rather than warding the brush, you would ward the crossroads, just so that you would get more vision towards
Towards
like,
their base.
yeah, towards the wolf area and a little bit down this corridor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you don't need to see this brush here is just here to see them do blue
Downwards.
buff, but like if you had the ward here, you would know that they were doing blue buff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You just need the further intel. So this brush is kind of a bait in terms of warding. The only time you want to maybe put a ward here is if it's a control ward.
Yeah.
But like you can just put your normal stealth ward out here, and then you can see multiple. You can see like 5 different corridors here, just by putting it in the middle of like this star shape.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because you went with your Caitlyn when they were in a very, very overextended push, these random bubbles need to stop. Yeah.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay, that could have been worse. You got to stop chucking out Qs though.
I do.
It's a bit
yeah.
panicky, it seems like, but you can just calm it down a little bit. So going back into mid is the right idea. You want mid control, you want to put a ward in the mid lane. So always try and ward. Say for example, if you're playing on the aggressive side of things, you want to have this mid ward around aggressively near the tier 1 turret, enemy tier 1 turret, where if it's dead. And then you want to start from there and then expand out from there to the objective that you want warding. So for this instance, it's Baron. Baron's like the biggest priority neutral on the map, and so you want to start from here and make sure you got vision going towards. It's nice that you got 2 blue trinkets here already that can light your path, but I would probably just whack a controlled, honestly, in the Baron. And maybe like when you're around here, you could put 1 over the ledge here. Just that you don't want to go deep and start face checking these brushes, but you want to like give yourself a heads up just in case, like, you know, Hecarim moving in like 500 movement speed with Ghost popped. Even like even the Caitlyn here could then still be vulnerable to that.
Yeah, because we had also just seen them in the mid lane, so we didn't quite know where in their jungle they've gone.
That ward though, it's not good. Do you know why? Even though
the one behind the red, or the control ward.
This control ward.
Mm.
Do you know why it's bad?
Is it too far, like, forward for them to see?
Yeah, if they put a ward at the back of the pit, this isn't going to see it. It needs to be near the Baron.
The light physics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if I do blue vision, you can't see any wards. It's faint, but you can't see any wards that would be placed at the back of the Baron pit.
Yeah, the ones that are
That
like
needs to be
hugging the
shoved
wall.
in. Yeah. So that can be centralized a bit more. Just minor things like that can make all the difference. Because it could, like, for the people in your ELO, even some junglers, like, they won't even be aware of that. They think, oh, it's controlled in the pit, they have no wards. It's fine, right? Like,
yeah.
So do be wary of that.
Or even when you're like actually doing the objective and then they pop a ward over and it disappears.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, while you're here, having a ward here would be great to see rotations and see where they're coming through. Because if I like hide the vision here, you guys are going to be like losing a lot of vision. You don't know what's coming down this lane.
Yeah. Because I still would have had 1 ward charge, wouldn't I?
Yep, you still got 1 ward charge. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once you've used your ward charges, You just want to recall if nothing's happening. Dragon's up in about 1 minute, just under a minute, so now's the perfect time to recall just to get some ward stacks back in. So you've got four wards. You can maybe buy another control ward if you want to, and then... Okay, good. I'm liking the recall here. It's good recall timing, especially with your whole team. Come back out into mid first. You want to start mid, and then there's always like start towards mid, and then expand out from there.
Yeah.
Don't do random keys. Don't be in the front line either. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of things. I'm going to put this in like 0.5 and then we can just point out stuff as they're happening. So don't be tempted just to try and bubble someone just because they're killing a ward, especially when the whole team's around.
Yeah. I felt very silly during this fight.
Okay. And then, unfortunately, your team doesn't really have a tank, but you should not be in the front line anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, with this Malphite looking at me, you'll basically got your button pressed on flash. You won't necessarily use it, but if you're aware of this, you can just react to it if you're quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be expecting Malphite to ulti. Because now what's kind of happened is that your team is now completely split up. And they're going to get vulnerable to getting picked off now. This is like really, really bad for your team.
So
Enemy
when like
team
the
played it
team
quite
is
bad.
splitting there by raptors, like it's separating into both parts, what can you do to fix that situation?
Okay, so ideally you want in the front. Okay, so yeah, in the ideal world you're not in the right position here, but you could have just done a panic ult going across here and cutting off this corridor so that they can't follow up onto the Caitlyn. It wouldn't have led to a kill for your team, but it would have prevented your team from dying. And like Caitlyn here would probably still have flash if you were to just straight away ult react to the fact that you got caught.
Yeah.
It would suck because you got like Cloud Soul coming up, but I think that's what you would have to do. If you have oracles at this stage as well, you should be popping that. Yeah, you do. So you should be popping oracles and making sure that they don't have vision around here. Like you basically. So before any team fight starts, it basically starts with vision.
Yeah, because we must have also seen them put down those wards.
But regardless, you want to just pop before a fight starts, or especially leading up to an objective. You just want to make sure that the enemy can't see you setting up a position to counter their aggressiveness.
Yeah.
So that could just be oracles. That could have been like a controlled in this brush, just to make sure they didn't have vision in this brush. And you know, you just spotted out one of the wards in the corridor. Just you want to try and eliminate as much vision as possible, kind of like what the enemy team's already trying to do to you. It's, yeah, but the fact that you still have oracles up right now and 2 controls is big crime.
Yeah.
Because now the only way the stalemate is going to break for your favor is if they can't see you, because they can see you at every step and every move, which is giving time like Malphite to potentially like wait for like a decent flash ult play. So that's a bit of a there we go. So yeah, I just, without even like watching this now, so that this fight was just lost because of vision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, apparently it's not going to be lost. But the fight could have went a lot better if you had the vision set up.
Yeah. Yeah, my partner was saying it was very costly. Like, we used too much.
Yeah, you kind of panicked, ultied. Once again, I'd always say I'd rather you use it than you don't use it. But when it's such a huge stalemate here, it was probably about 45 seconds, 1 minute the entire time here. You guys saw here, and the fact that there was no wards cleared out during the entire time is it's just something that you need to think of.
So like when fights like that are like tensing up, I should just be assuming that they can see us and to clear that out.
Always assume that the enemy can see you. I think it's just
Mm-hmm.
a good rule. Just always assume that they can see you, and you should always be generally popping looking to pop your oracles as often as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think having your oracles off cooldown for longer than a minute is a huge sign that you're not moving around to looking proactively to remove enemy vision.
Yeah.
Having your own vision is just important as clearing out enemy vision.
Mm-hmm.
So you had, as I said before, even if your oracles is on cooldown, you still had 2 control wards, so you should have been using those proactively as well. There's no point in them being in your bags doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your team the important thing is like if your team knows that the enemy can't see you, it just gives you a lot more freedom. I think this is just like the last team fight we're gonna watch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch this one and then see what happens. So I want to see how you react. Decent push in. Vayne's overextended quite a bit, shoved herself into that corridor. Your ult is good. Still holding to spells quite a lot here. I think, okay, so I don't like the priority there. I think your ult over here was fine. I'm gonna slow it down to 0.5. I think your ult here is fine, but you're holding onto Q, W, E for the entire time here. You can still, I would personally look to E the Caitlyn. Remember when you're crowd controlled, you want to like add the buff onto your Caitlyn, so helping it, Caitlyn's bashing down here is potentially slowing them down. Then you W, and as someone's slowed, then you can look to bubble. Just want to be careful of your own HP here. I think the flash respect is fine. And you did it right there, because you gave the Lux your E. So you did the right thing there. It's just you could have buffed up the Caitlyn earlier.
Yeah. I think the panic alt E combo is too tempting in team fights. It's a really bad habit.
Okay, I think that's all I want to watch because it's been what, nearly an hour and a half now. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some ideas on what to do in your games and things.
Yeah, that was really helpful.
I'm
gonna be looking back at more VODs now as well.
Yeah, so just generally, I know we focus a lot on laning phase that game, but generally, you want to make sure you're doing self-cast E, W, try and get auto-attack poke, particularly very, very early on in the laning phase. I want to see you focus, not when the team fights are looking to happen out, I want you to make sure that you start not only warding around the brushes where the fights are likely to happen, but also looking to clear that vision out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very important.
I want you I want you to crowd control the laners when the junglers are ganking rather than fixating on that. Or at least, for example, you weren't up against like a Leona here. But like, there's no point crowd controlling the person that's already done everything, all of their crowd control, right? So if you've been engaged on by a Leona and she's done EQ, there's no point bubbling the Leona. You want to bubble the AD carry or the next damage.
Leona can't do anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because like the vision stuff as well is really important for me, for you to have said to me, because I always find myself like back in base with like 2 charges of my control words and I don't know where I could have used them.
So generally it's just so generally you're either using them on the objective, which is the obvious one, but like as I said earlier, like if there's a fight about to break out and your oracles is on cooldown, you're using your control words just to secure vision in the area, just making sure that you guys are safe. That's the most important thing, because if the enemy, say if your team knew like there was a ward in this brush that I'm looking at, for example, they would be more hesitant to necessarily make a play around that area because they knew that they know that you know that they're there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're,
They know too much.
yes.
Yeah.
They know that you're there, your team's there, and looking to make a play around the area, so they can already be prepared to counter what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you're countering the fact that they're waiting to counter you. Yeah, it ends up being quite meta, but anything else? Oh yeah, and also your AD carry if you're getting caught out.
Yeah.
Those are like the
I need
main
to, like-
points.
I need to get rid of my stupid little habits.
Yeah. And in terms of like the duo stuff, look for better recalls in the lane. And if you're gonna run like Caitlyn, Nami, or like an aggressive laner, do look more towards ignite rather than heal.
Yeah.
If you're taking something like Caitlyn, then you want to like win the laning phase.
Yeah.
You're not here to play it out, because if you're taking heal exhaust, you're basically saying, okay, well, we're not probably going to be doing as good in laning phase, but we want to like, you know, do really well late game. But that's not what you want to do here at all. With Nami early, you could potentially get kills, especially if you're aggressive with your EW, ignite, autos. She does a lot of damage in the early parts of the laning phase.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's alright. I know there's a lot of information there and we overran quite a bit. Obviously, feel free to look at the VODs if you need to. Yeah. Have you got any questions or anything?
I think like when the solo play starts coming up more, I'm like very insecure like playing on my own. Like not being able to like talk to my laner. So what kind of tips do you have for that? Like besides what you were saying earlier, like following what your AD carry is doing if they're like a stranger.
Okay, so so it's going to be different all the time depending on what your AD carry is like. But the general gist is, if your AD carry wants to push in, you're helping push. If your AD carry wants to recall, you are helping to recall. If your AD carry is dead, you're either looking to freeze the lane if possible, or you're recalling as well, just so that you can match up the same recall timers. It's all about trying to be in sync. I mean, you should be doing this with the duo anyway, but like it should always try and be in sync as much as possible. The other thing you're mentioning about communication issues, that's when you need to utilize your pings. So if you feel like you need to recall, that the both of you need to recall, you need to press the channel on your recall and then tell like your AD carry to back off via pings.
Yeah.
Just do like the pings that make noise. Like never ping, like for example, if you think your team should be doing Baron, don't ping the timers. Ideally, you want to like
ping the map.
Ping the map first and then ping the timer. Like you want to have that sound audio cue to make them look, because a lot of people don't even bother reading chat.
Yeah, because it's the same like chat noises as typing.
You
so they don't want to look.
Yeah, you want to avoid like actually typing as much as possible in League.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not paying attention to what's happening in the game. Just do the pings. That's what they're there for, and just utilize them.
Yeah, I have my chat box like way small, like down in the corner anyways, so like I barely ever pay attention to it myself.
So yeah, hopefully that helps. The one thing I would say though, like obviously if you enjoy doing the duos and stuff, like keep doing it, and if you feel like it's like, you know, whatever, it will make it harder though to do solo queue, so do be aware of that. And the one thing I could suggest is, especially if your ELO between the both of you is like the disparity is high, then doing something like flex might be a better thing to do together. But the problem is that the more times you duo, you'll be more hesitant to do solo queue. That's absolutely the case.
Yeah, because like I've been playing for 10 years now, and I'm like still too scared sometimes to like play on my own. And that's like probably like an experience a lot of people have.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it though. Thank you.
That's all right. And yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to add. Just watch the VOD again if you like feel like you need a refresher, that's what it's there for, okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's alright. All the
Thank
best.
you.
Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Take care.